Hey, everybody, John Granato and AJ Hoffman from ESPN 97.5. I'm on in the mornings, AJ's on in the afternoons. This week, Bleacher Report published their biggest winners and losers from the 2020 offseason so far. And obviously, Bill O'Brien is on it, but so is Jadeveon Clowney. O'Brien took a lot of heat, AJ, for moving Clowney, but he seems to be somewhat redeemed, seeing that Jadeveon Clowney, his market value is not all that. O'Brien also took heat for cutting Andre Johnson, but he was redeemed for that since Andre Johnson didn't do anything after he left here. Will history be more kind to Bill O'Brien than his critics expect? And I will say this. I don't know that there's been any one move that has defined a coach or GM more than the DeAndre Hopkins move that Bill O'Brien made.
I guess my going back to the Clowney and Andre Johnson takes, he was right about Andre Johnson. He certainly was. It was time for Andre Johnson to move on. That was an emotional reaction by Texans fans. The Jadeveon thing is a little bit different because, yes, was he wise not to give Jadeveon a long-term mega money deal? Yes. Did he have to move him for pennies on the dollar at the time? No. My biggest issue with it was Bill O'Brien said, we're in win now mode. And then they got rid of one of their best players for basically a bag of magic beans. So you can't be both. You're either in win now mode and you're dedicated to winning right at this moment. You're giving up future draft picks to win right now, or you're playing for the future. And with Jadeveon, they could have had him that season without paying him long term. They had him under contract. So that's what I think was foolish about that. I'm with you. I really think the legacy-defining move is going to be that DeAndre Hopkins move. If that ends up being a failure, it's going to be really hard for Bill O'Brien to ever recover from that.
Well, and here's the deal, too. They paid a bunch of Jadeveon Clowney's contract on top of it. I mean, are you kidding me? Oh, well, we don't want to pay him that money, but we'll pay you for him to play for you.
So we can win now.
Yes, but he only had 3 sacks last year. So maybe Bill O'Brien was like, hey, he doesn't practice. I don't want him around here. I don't like the culture. And I'm never going to fault. And if he didn't think that DeAndre Hopkins was good for the culture, I'm fine with that. If he doesn't think that that's the kind of culture that is going to produce winning football teams, I'm okay with that. But what I'll never be okay with is what he got for DeAndre Hopkins and his explanation for it. Well, DeAndre wants more money. Well, but the collective bargaining agreement says he can't hold up. Well, but that's no, that's not worth the paper it's written on. And oh, by the way, teams that are going to have to pay guys new money are going to have to pay more. Well, wait a minute. Are going to give you less for that player because they have to pay him. They know they have to pay him. Well, wait a minute. You gave up 2 firsts and a second for Laramie Tunsil, and then you paid him $22 million, which is $4 million more than the next best tackle. Don't tell me he's contradicting himself all the time. And the problem with Bill O'Brien is he doesn't understand value. He doesn't get that you don't give up 2 firsts and a second for a tackle. He doesn't get that you get more than a second rounder for one of the best wide receivers in football. That you don't pay Jadeveon Clowney. That you don't pay David Johnson all that money. That you make them pay or you wait for them to cut him. He just doesn't get value, AJ.
No, I think you're right, and I think what you said earlier about the culture and. If it's funny, the guys who seem to not fit the culture of Bill O'Brien are all the best players. It's DeAndre Hopkins, it's Jadeveon Clowney, it's Dwayne Brown. These are the guys who get moved out of town for not fitting the Texans' culture. That's not a way to have winning football either. You're not going to have a team of 52 J.J. Watts. They just don't exist. But every little guy you've got some sort of an issue with, you can't just ship him out of town. That's not the way to build a winning franchise.
Well, I will counter that. Jalen Strong was not a very good player. He wasn't a good practice. He came in overweight. But you know what? We don't see the guys that don't fit the culture, that don't work very hard. Well, he wasn't very good. That's why he got cut. So, sometimes those are the ones that what you do notice are the Jadeveon Clowneys and the DeAndre Hopkins, that you're getting rid of those guys when they're really, really good players. I'm sure he's cut a ton of guys that didn't have the culture, but they weren't very good.